Good evening. Is the frequency in use? Alrighty, frequency is not in use. K4PEW, net control for the Mount Juliet Simplex radio net. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? Nothing heard, never have been heard. You can break anytime if you have a problem or emergency, as long as it's not cooking advice or personal advice or marriage advice. For information on this net, you can see us at the 146415.net. 146415.net. Just a coincidence. Yeah. Or you can see us on Yahoo groups at MJ_SS, or you can see me kind of on QRZ on my call, or you can use my call sign K4PEW@ARRL.net. We normally and usually do meet at 8 p.m. every Saturday and Wednesday evening. We conduct a net on 1.5 FM Simplex, in case you happen to be off frequency, which I doubt. Live feed on YouTube, which is Trusts, or you can look up my call. It'll get you to the same place, K4PEW, or like I said, Brain Trust. It's one word with an S on the end of it. Brain Trust with an S. And that's that's my ugly push there on the screen. I don't know who's looking because I over my shoulder. You guys might be catching up with me. So, do we have any announcements for the net tonight? Because we invite everyone to use this net to announce amateur radio events, activities, resources, support of the local community, and anybody that can hear us. It's a directed net, and all traffic should be coordinated by net control. Are there any announcements? Fine business. I have a couple. We actually have some of you may have already received it. We have the Wilson County Amateur Radio Club sponsors a Ham Fest over at the fairground. It's called Ham Quest, HAMQUEST. You could look it up. Quest Ham Fest. You can find it any place. You also find it on the ARRL listings of Ham Fests. But it's I believe it's July 28th this year. Be there at 7:30, and the last 2 years have been very good, and I participated in it. Had a table at it, and I found it to be great. So, and I think everybody else did. So, July 28th, mark your calendars. I'll wait. Okay, you got to be quick. Any other announcements? So I'll push the Wilson County, also the Amateur Radio Club is a net this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. The normal place, 147.105 with a plus offset and a PL of 156.7. And of course, Tuesday night, the Amateur Radio Club at Vanderbilt University at AA4VU, it's Alpha Alpha 4, as a net mirror repeater 443.800 plus offset and a 123. Any other announcements before we move on? Dead silence, dead air. Well, very good. I'll assume that's a good thing. We've had a good, again, Brain Trusts on a live feed. If it interests you to watch me and my shack. I didn't even bother to clean it up today because I want you to see me for what I really am. Books piled up everywhere. I still haven't got it straightened out after getting some straight cupboards in here, and I still haven't done anything about it. And I put up several rows of bookcases, and I still don't have those straightened out. So too busy on the radio. All right, well, let's do this. We'll start taking check-ins. This time we'll start taking them we'll start from the east this time, east of Mount Juliet Road.
WA4SLHI.
Hey, James. Yeah, as always, you're jumping. I mean, you practice the trigger finger as you're right between nets?
No, just ready. Just stay ready.
That's right. A real seasoned amateur radio operator. Now, you sound good as always, James. Sound good. Yeah, let me know how you hear the other guys up north. I'd be interested to see how good conditions are. Good to have you there, James. Who else east of Mount Juliet Road? Now they almost be cashing in their Kentucky Derby winnings. Nothing else east of Mount Juliet Road, please come in. Well, very good. Then we'll go over to south of 40, please come in.
Kilo Echo 4 Tango Yankee Juliet, Jim in Woodbury.
Hey, Jim, how are you? I was beginning to wonder if anybody was out there. All right, you sound great. How much power are you using tonight?
15 watts.
Oh, that's all you need with that nice beam arrangement. You're doing great. Although you did fine. You were readable before you had the beam, but now it's just like we've talked about. You're just like a mile away or so. It sounds great. Well, good to have you in there, Jim. That's Jim, Kilo Echo 4 Tango Yankee Juliet, and he's in Woodbury. See, I didn't even hesitate on the city name.
Yeah, you're getting better, Paul. Yeah, but before I had to run 50 watts to be readable. Now I don't. I like this a lot better. All right, back to net. KE4TYJ.
Yeah, I got you. No, I'm sure you're right. I know you're right because I can copy it real good. Low, whatever it was, 10 watts before, so no problem at all. Very good. Well, south of 40, please come in.
Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee, Bill in Murfreesboro.
Hello, Bill. Yeah, you sound great. Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee. You're running a regular power, I take it. Conditions are good.
Yep, I'm still running that little 05, so if it works, that's where I'm going to leave it.
No, it sounds great. It really does. You've got good, solid audio. And give me one more time. Let me look at that S meter again.
Well, it's coming at you. I hope it just don't break your meter or bend it back on you.
Well, you're a good, solid S9 into my antenna, so it's not doing too bad. Very good, Bill. Appreciate you being in there from Murfreesboro. And again, that was Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee, Bill in Murfreesboro. Who else out the 40? Please come in.
Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor.
Oh, sounds good there, Larry. You're sounding good, but I couldn't tell if conditions are good or bad with you.
No problem, man. I got you live, so I'll be watching.
Yeah, my salute to you. Probably after I turn around, the salute gets to you because of the delay, I guess. Well, very good, Larry. You sound good. That was Larry, Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor in Rockvale. Appreciate you being there. Who else south of 40?
KN4 CCQ Mobile.
Sounds like Mr. Preston in Rockvale as well.
Yeah, not quite in Rockville yet, but I'm headed that direction.
Oh, I didn't hear you say mobile. Is that what you said?
Yeah, out here tooling around.
Yeah, well, don't tool too much on wet roads.
Copy that. Well, good evening over here, Paul.
Yeah, very good, Preston. Good to hear you in there. That's Kilo November 4, Charlie, Quebec. Preston, Mobile, somewhere near Rockvale. And I'm glad you could make it mobile there, Preston. Appreciate the perseverance to be on the air even though you're not home. Who else south of 40? Please come in. Nobody else south of 40? West of Mount Juliet Road, but west of Wilson County. Please come in.
KM4YRS. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Michael. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. Just about to get settled into my new place, and hopefully I'll get my antenna moved soon.
Well, you're doing pretty good at, you're like 10 over S9, I think it is. I got to read the meter, the book on the meter again. It's not real clear with that. But no, you sound terrific.
Well, thank you. So do you.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I know I get it's it sounds awful to say that. Yes, if I'm usually within Davidson County, and you're not on the other side of one of the downtown, directly in line, I'm usually pretty good. Or somebody on Briley in the cave of those tall, the barriers, which I've seen some people mobile have struggled with me. But otherwise, I don't know if you saw that footprint I sent out. I'm good in some areas up to 45, 50 miles. It's amazing.
I have not seen it, and I'll have to look for that.
All right, now take a look. It's in fact the footprint on the home page, that 120. I'm sorry, 120. That 146.415.net has a footprint of my station on it. It's not super detailed, but you can see the areas of which I'd be most prominently heard. And there are some areas that obviously, due to terrain, that I don't do very well in. But anyway, you can see the footprint on that 146.415.net.
I have seen that, and as soon as I get things settled down, I'm going to buy an antenna just like you have, and see how well it'll work.
Yeah, where I think there's going to be a bunch of us with dueling X900s running around.
Well, that might be a good thing.
I say 900, it's an X700. If they come out with a 900, I'm not buying it. Okay, I don't need it.
Okay, I'll let somebody else talk. I'll back to the net.
All right, Michael. That was Michael, Kilo, Mike 4, Yankee, Romeo, Foxtrot, in East Nashville. Who else? West of Mount Juliet, west of Wilson County, please.
WY4G.
Yeah, WY4G, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing just kind of just hanging out here at the house. That's about it.
Well, rainy days, that's a good way to hang out, you know. I still like, you're the second person I know, by the way. I was just looking at your QRZ page here. You're the second person I know who has, what do you call it? Herman Munster as his ID on his QRZ page.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had to work today too, so I'm working around. Yeah, I even have a shirt with that on it. I got it. Let's see where I get that from. I think so. A place called hiphamshirts.com. It's got that on there. It's he's talking on the radio. Hello Mars. This is that call that he used, but I think actually Fred Gwynn was in real life. He was a ham, if I'm not mistaken.
It could be. I don't know. I know that I liked him as a character. He sure did have a good role there, though, and some other things too. But that was his most prominent role. So, yeah, that was a nice feature on there, him being a ham radio operator. Because he's such a, I don't know, kind of a. It was kind of funny though.
It kind of fit right in. But yeah, I work 6 days a week. And it's just, like by Saturday, I'm just kind of brain dead almost. I'm just exhausted. It's just all I want to do is kind of just hang around, just chill out, kind of unwind.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. I've done 6 days a week, but I didn't do it forever. And 6 days a week is grueling. It really is. No matter what you're doing, being at work for 6 days a week is tough. I hope your retirement's good. Well, listen, we'll move on. Appreciate you being there, Jeff. That's Jeff, Whiskey Yankee for golf, and he's up in Madison, I believe. Yeah, that's right.
That is correct. Northern part of Davidson County, Madison. So that's where I'm at. Right in the middle of it. Kind of, sort of, anyway. Anyway, I'll continue on, Paul. So I'll be just sitting around listening. So good evening, WY4G.
Yeah, very good, Jeff. Again, Jeff, Whiskey Yankee for golf in Madison. Who else west of 40, please? I mean, west of Mount Juliet, please come. Move around to the north. Else north of Division Street or Mount Juliet or Lebanon Road.
Whiskey Delta 4, Bravo, Whiskey Charlie.
Hello, I got 2 Jeffs in a row. That must be something against that. How you doing, Jeff? You sound good.
Thank you. That's good to know. Had to move my antenna inside. Other issues. That's good to obsolete I'm getting at.
As long as it's not homeowner restriction issues.
No HOAs here.
Very good. Yeah, you still got that buzzing. I swear, it must be your power supply or something else in the room there because it's got that hum, like a 60 cycle hum.
Yeah, I think it's the power supply. You know why it's humming? You know that.
Yeah, I'm guessing it is, but it's not that bad though because you're still full copy. It's not a problem. All your audio is fine.
Okay, I'll have to. I think it's because I'm using a cigarette lighter instead of hooking it direct, so I'll eliminate that.
I got you. Very good. Again, I'm not complaining. I just thought I'd tell you what it was again. It hasn't gone away yet. All right, very good, Jeff. Appreciate you being there. That was Whiskey Delta 4, Bravo, Whiskey Charlie, and he's in the northwest part of Wilson County. Who else north of Lebanon Road, please come?
Kilo November 4, Bravo Tango Whiskey.
Hey, how are you? Oh, that's right. You are up in that neck of the woods again, aren't you, Colt?
Yep, I'm up there just off of Nonaville.
Yeah, very good. You sound good. So I'm happy to have your new power and your new power supply and your new location.
Oh yeah, it's doing great. I'm pushing all 80 watts right now. In case you couldn't tell already, I'm hoping I'm throwing your S meter through the roof. That's the goal.
Well, you are, but you don't need it. I'm pretty sure you could be at probably 30 because you got me at 30 before, as I recall.
Oh yeah, no, I've hit you all the way down at 5, no problem. You put it quite big up.
Yeah, I don't. In my case, with this antenna, I don't need a lot. I mean, if I can get handhelds out of Murfreesboro and where else? Out of Laverne. I think I had a handheld out of Laverne too. I was like, how does that happen? Anyway, very, very good, Cole. Good to have you in there. That's Kilo November 4 Bravo Tango Whiskey, pushing everything he's got at 80 watts. So he's doing great. All right, who else north of Mount Juliet Road? Not Mount Juliet. Yeah, it is north of Mount Juliet Road, north of Lebanon Road, and north of Division Street.
Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo.
Hey, Frank, how are you this evening?
Doing good. Almost missed it. Was inside getting the food and just walked out to the car. Was trying to listen on the HT, but they just had really bad interference inside the restaurant.
Oh, so you ran out to the car, did you?
Well, like it was a to-go order. They finally got it ready, and just heard you finishing up with the last one.
Oh, I got you. Very good. Well, again, there's no demerits. Like we've said, we give hams. We're the only net I know of that gives hams 2 opportunities a week to miss the net.
Yeah, I understand that. No, it's kind of cool. I like, being able to check in from different modes, different, same FM, but in mobile, HT, at the house, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, well, from your location, I'm good. I'm pretty sure I'm good with an HT from where you are.
Yeah, from the house, we did half a watt from inside with the rubber ducky, and you were able to copy me.
Yeah, that's right. Now that you say that, I remember that. That is astounding, really. Ham radio is good to us.
Yeah, now we just got to get the outdoor, and I was going to say, before I went inside, I actually, I forgot the gentleman's call, but the guy with the beam on the south, I think he was the first person to check in. Second person, I actually heard him in the car here.
Oh yeah, well he's got a 10 element beam down there with today he's I think he said he's on 30 watts, but he's 100%. He's as strong as anybody in the his radio signal. I qualify that. He's as strong as anybody else here on the net, but it's only due to that 9. He's got a good elevation and a 9 element beam or 10 element beam pushing right straight toward me, which technically almost puts you in line with me, almost.
Yeah, I was on basically Mount Juliet, just west of Mount Juliet Road and Lebanon Road, and I was doing a U-turn, and there he was. I was like, wow, I can't even, usually I don't hear people from the south very well at all, even at home. So that worked out real good, and that's right, it was 30 watts. I heard him say that.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's like I said before, it's fun to watch as people. Not only do they improve their their verticals for omnidirectional purposes for Simplex, but also jump onto beams. So especially those in the outlying areas, or they want to just there's some people who aren't in outlying areas who have nice, not huge beams. I mean, I think I may have mentioned on that M Squared also sells a I forget how many elements it is, but the 2-meter beam that's I think it's 54 feet long, and I don't really need a beam. Look it up, M Squared, the biggest 2-meter beam they have. It'll go that. Yeah, but I think you have to have a tower for that. But anyway, no, it's just fun to watch people get better. Maybe someday I'll have a 2. I think they make that for moonbound stuff, or EME use, or EME, or meteor scatter, or something. Anyway, who else do we have north of Lebanon Road? And Frank, we appreciate you being there. Who else do we have north? Please come on.
W4DBV.
Hey, Brian, what's up? Your signal sounds great tonight. The conditions are already better. It's funny, in the summer we have more, I think, absorption from growth of green, but yet at the same time, today. The conditions. Did you hear Jim earlier? For James over there in Mount Juliet?
No, I could not copy him. I think when you said who it was, I detected a little scratchiness in the noise, but no copy at all. I am hearing Jeff BWC, Colt BTW, and Frank RKK. The other gentleman in Madison, for some reason, I cannot hear at all. And I didn't hear anyone else at all. So that's you're about the same F7, and I'm running my about 35 watts at the moment, W4 DBV.
Oh yeah, no, you have a very strong signal to me. You sounded great. Yeah, James, are you copying Brian at all tonight?
Just on my computer. I hear him great on the computer.
Oh, that's cheating. That's not what I meant, man.
But no, I don't hear him on the air at all.
Okay, very good. Brian, you probably didn't hear him unless you heard it over the computer, but he's not copying you at all. I was just wondering if your conditions to me are great, and sometimes he hears you, but I can't, there's no explaining why. Sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't, obviously, his conditions.
Yeah, now I could hear him, but I could not copy him that time. So for what that's worth, and, we've got a lot of foliage out, and it's all soaking wet. So really, by my reckoning, there should be more absorption, but there doesn't appear to be. So anyway, that's my report. Everybody have a good evening. It's good to hear you, and I'm glad you can hear me this evening. W4 DBV.
Oh yeah, S7 here. S7. So you're doing great.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll leave everything as it is then for the time being.
Unless you want to get that 54-foot beam.
Well, if I had the terrain, I would do something that would be better, but it's just like the obstacle is, I need a 200-foot tower, that kind of thing, or, a drone or something that, can lift 10 pounds, So the terrain is such an obstacle here that it's almost futile to throw a lot of money at it or effort and so on. But, if I had a different place up on the hill, I would probably buy the antenna you have.
Oh yeah, no, I do understand. I know when I said you needed that 54-foot antenna, it presumed you to have a 200-foot tower.
Yeah, I think that 54-foot antenna is probably used to smoke drones.
Yeah, smoke birds too. Can you imagine? That would be unbelievable. You wouldn't even want to use it locally. Who would care? Of course, that was the same thing was true. They can actually stack four. I think M squared may say they can stack 4 of those. And I'm thinking, if you stack 4 of those and you put, and they're good for legal limit, 1,500 watts, wouldn't that be illegal?
I don't think there's a law. They only talk about maximum ERP on 60 meters, where it's 100 watts reference a dipole. Of course, they don't bring into the calculation the height above ground, the ground losses, conductivity of the soil, and all that crap. But no, I don't think they worry about ERP. They just worry about 1,500 watts out, to the PL259 on the back. And then if you've got, 60 dB forward gain, look out.
Okay, that convinces me that I'm getting it. I didn't want to break the law, but now I have to spend the $50,000 for that 200-foot tower and then getting it installed, getting a new house to support it. All right, appreciate you being there, Brian. That was Brian, Whiskey 4 Delta Bravo Victor, and he's also in the northwest part of the county, kind of down in a hole with an attic J-pole that works very well to me. I'm not sure who else copies him, but I know some people don't, and most of the people in his neighborhood do it. But that's enough. Emergency situations with relays and getting to me, you can also get to other people with similar elevations. We appreciate you being in there, Brian. Who else north of Mount Juliet? Please come in. Back to late check-ins then. Who is out there, any place, anywhere on late check-ins? Please come in.
I'll be a late check-in W4PEW.
Well, with your history, Eddie, you'd be a late check-in for last week's net.
Well, check me in on that one too. Hope everybody's enjoyed this wonderful, much-needed rain today.
Oh yeah, well, we need it. We always How you do? You sounded good, Eddie, and hope you had a safe, wet day today.
Yeah, it's one of those not do much days, so I got a lot accomplished.
Were you able to copy Brian up there in the Northwest, the fellow who preceded you?
Yeah, I could hear him pretty good.
Yeah, only because of the elevation on your tower. And you're a little, I don't know if it makes any difference, but you're a little farther. You know, you're a couple of miles east of me, so
Well, I'm on my log periodic, and I don't know which direction it's aiming.
So you're the aimless ham, is what you're saying.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so you're going to get that fixed one of these days. You know, pretty soon somebody's going to take up a GoFundMe site so we can get that fixed, so you'll know where it's going.
Hey, I don't mind paying, and I'll pay cash.
Yeah, very good. Just a word to the wise. Eddie's paying cash if somebody wants to climb his tower to fix that rotor that he's got up there. All righty, Eddie. I appreciate you being there. Who else north or south of, or anywhere, any place, anywhere, late check-ins, please come in. Well, good. Somebody's going to, hopefully nobody falls into the, oh, we'd like to get more, but the procrastinators and come, of course, come after midnight, but now we go for the lurkers, lollygaggers, sandbaggers, and scanner listeners. Anybody else? Any place, anywhere? Does anybody hear any signals I can't, which is, I imagine can happen? Is Steve in Scottsboro? Scottsville? Steve in Scottsville, are you out there? There are ups and downs. Last net we had 26, I believe, it totaled out at. And this time we had half as many as that, 13. But again, other things come in front of ham radio. Oftentimes it's family. Sometimes we forget. I have forgotten. And family comes first, of course. And it's a Saturday night. And it's, I don't know if it's a good night. I think it quit raining. One more chance. Late check-ins, please come in. Yeah, that was 13. I just recounted them. Well, very good. We appreciate the 13 that showed up. And the only ones that are important are the ones who showed up. And also the ones who are attending the family business or family things. Much more important than ham radio because we just have fun here. So I also, just as an aside there, we Yahoo for some reason can't figure out not to send the messages that are supposed to automatically go out every time we have a net, the day before and the day of. They're supposed to be one of each. None of them are going out. So sometimes I think it's a function of no message, no, reminders. I'm pretty sure I sent out a reminder this past week and we had 26, but I had sent out a reminder on another night and we didn't have near that many. It comes up and down again. The other stuff which gets in the way, I think. So and again, I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing out that it seems to be random how many people we get on the net. We appreciate anyone who's coming. So anyway, have a great night. Unless anybody else, again, this is the last chance, final last chance for check-ins. Please come in. Well, very good. Then we'll close the net and move into the. You can turn the frequency over to amateur radio. K4PEW. Thanks, guys. 73.
Nobody had anything for sale tonight, K4TYJ?
I didn't ask. We should ask me. Is there anybody did have anything for sale or anything they wanted? I forgot all about that. Guess that answers that question.
I was just trying to help.
Well, nothing wrong with that. You're probably the kid in school that said, "Hey, you forgot the homework, teacher?"
I didn't like homework.
I loved it. I just didn't do it.
Homework's for other people. Or other people who didn't pay attention in class.
Well, it took me many years to learn that most of the stuff that happens in the class is kind of incidental. You have to you have to pick up the material on your own. If you can do it in class, great. If you have to do it by reading the book and studying the materials afterwards, you got to do it. You can't just depend upon whatever's.
No, I know it. That was a pretty good group you have tonight.
Oh yeah, no, it was fun. Like I said, I don't. It's not a question of complaining. I mean, it's just lower than average, and we've been pushing. Well, we had one recently. I think 2 nets ago we had 16, and then the last one I believe we had 26. This time we had 13, and I forgot to send out a reminder on this one, so that may have had something to do with it. But again, I don't worry about it. I mean, if people are making use of the net, if they use it once a month, I'm good. Again, if everybody showed up, man, we'd be here for an hour and a half.
Yeah, this is true. And it was done, and during the net, it was fire and brimstone pouring rain out here.
Oh, really? That bad, huh?
Yeah, it was beating on my windows.
Real frog drowner, huh?
No, I could only hope. I got a pond full of frogs. They won't shut up.
Oh, your frogs are already up and at them. Mine are still big tadpoles.
They've been up and at them since, I think, the ice come off of it.
Yeah, apparently I've got the emotionally retarded ones.
You need to come out here and get yourself some of these frogs.
Well, it's funny. I had this pond. You can see it. I mean, it's a small pond. It's might be 6 foot at the longest, and then it's kind of a oblong shape kind of thing. Probably 2.5 feet deep or something. But it's got frogs in it. It almost always has frogs in it. And 1-to-1, was it last summer? A snake came by and stunned most of them and ate a couple of them. Another year, big bullfrogs came in and had their fill of the little frogs, and then he took off. So it's like a never-ending nature's battle out here in my backyard.
Oh, I get that. I got hawks flying overhead hunting, and then I got black racers. There was a rattlesnake that was crossing the road and got hit by a car. Neighbor had to put him out of his misery. He was a good, I want to say, 6-7 footer. He was good size. The various critters I got around here, and I got this rogue squirrel I'm battling with my 40-meter dipole.
Well, if it was up to me, he'd be a road squirrel.
I couldn't get a clear shot at him today. I could kind of see where he was at, but I wasn't sure. But they travel in packs. They're evil.
Well, it's funny. My wife says, they're so cute. I go, you realize squirrels steal birds' eggs? You do know that, right?
Yeah, they're thieves. They're just buttheads of the little animal kingdom.
That's what here. They fall in the higher hierarchy. They're the good-looking mafioso rodents.
When you start getting too friendly with them, when just have her put up a bird feeder.
Oh no, we've got a bird feeder. Even then, I'd scare the squirrel off, and she goes, "He's got to eat too." Yeah, she's got to find other things to eat. Just I'm not, what am I subsidizing his food? Food box there.
But I will say this: you ever see them videos where they guys put up a obstacle course basically for the squirrels to go get the seeds, the bird feed? It's pretty amazing what they learn and can accomplish.
Oh no, they're very bright. I mean, rats are bright too. Give them a chance. Rats and mice. They go through those mazes and figure things out. Squirrels may be a little brighter. I don't know. If they were a lot smarter, they wouldn't get hit by cars.
Well, they just can't make a decision right away. That's their problem, the indecisiveness.
Yeah, I like that look they get when they see it coming. They stop and they look around. They can't figure out which way to go, and they start and they turn around and go the other way.
So that's their downfall. Can't make up their mind.
Yeah, they don't have a good sense of movement related to time. It's really fun. A lot of animals don't. Possums seem to be really bad at it.
The possums just don't care. They're oblivious, most like to most of the world around them, especially at nighttime. But I like the little possums, and I had one on my back deck one day. I opened the door, and he was sitting on the railing. I said, "Dude, you're gonna have to leave." He didn't leave, so I shoved him off. I just shoved him off the deck. He ain't come back.
Yeah, I had one in Florida that I heard. I went out to the yard and I heard something rustling in one of the plastic garbage cans, a big plastic garbage can. Here's this baby, young juvenile possum in there. He fell in there. He couldn't get out.
Poor guy.
No, I pushed it over and let him out. It was just funny how animals aren't always the brightest bulbs,
Raccoons all the time. We carry them to the landfill. Some days I believe I'm in the animal relocation program.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about those lizards. They had a big lizard. Call them Cuban lizards. I'm not sure if that's an accurate description, but they're large lizards in Florida, larger than the little ones. And I'm going down the road. One of those lizards I realized is on the hood of my car, and I'm doing 45 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, I don't think he was asking for this.
I got a picture I'll show you one day. Going down the road, and my forks were up above the cab where we carry them at. I noticed on the fork too, it looks like fuzzy, furry feet there. And I slowed down, turned the pump on, and lowered the arms, and lo and behold, there's a raccoon. And he made his way over to the fork pad on the driver's side, and he was clinging to the fork, looking back at me like, "Dude, come on, let me off." He was up there at 60 mile an hour, just clinging to it. So I slowed down, lowered the arms. He stepped off and walked away like, "Thanks, man." That one ended well.
Yeah, but now you're going to have to go find him and take him home.
Oh, no. I let him off at a farm. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I wonder how they do that, because I don't think raccoons are, the females are obviously, they stick around their young, but I think independently, the males and the females, they don't care. They just go out and go about their business, whatever they do.
You don't have to go find a new den.
I guess that's what it is, but I'm saying it's not that big a deal. I mean, there's raccoons everywhere. I mean, I saw, I forget what city it was. I want to say it was Chicago. There's areas, residential areas, not distant, outlying areas, but there's areas, Chicago and New York City, that have raccoons in them.
Oh, I believe it. You got a lot of skunks up there too.
Skunks. Had to raise that issue.
Hey, they don't have armadillos. We do.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I mentioned that story to you. When I was in the Navy, I had rented. We got back from the first deployment. I got married. No, I was after. My boy was young. He was a baby, and I rented this cottage. It was really like just a little wooden cottage, one bedroom, a living room, a porch, and a kitchen. And it was nice. A lot of skunks there in Rhode Island, though. And the skunk, and there was always, we saw evidence of skunks walking around. We saw skunks, and it wasn't too surprising. You could see the skunk hair as you went underneath the parts of because the cabin was up off the ground on blocks. And well, in the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock in the morning, at least two, I don't think it was more than two, they decided to have a fight underneath the cabin. I don't know if it was territorial or it was just a domestic dispute, but they decided apparently to spray each other to death. We had to move. I had to move out of the place that night. It stunk so bad.
Did you ever go back?
Oh no, I picked up all my stuff and I had to put it all through the wash. You don't have too much when you're making $2,000 a year.
No, I don't think so.
I could barely afford groceries. I got ticked off. It was in 71, I guess. At 70 or 71. And during that period, which I'm sure you don't remember, they had Nixon introduced price controls on everything. It was just, whatever they call it. I think it's cost control, price controls. It's because inflation was gotten out of hand or some such nonsense. I don't think anybody's done it since. It was very controversial at the time. And so that meant that they supposedly couldn't raise prices on lots of things like in the grocery. And I got all ticked off because my son the doctor had mandated that he drink powdered milk, instant milk, because the fact is he was too fat. He was a big eater. Well, you got to get him off whole milk because he's getting enough of everything and he doesn't need any more of that. So anyway, so I was buying instant milk, and that was nice because it was actually cheaper than whole milk. Well, they raised like they doubled the price of instant milk. And I went to the manager and complained. He says, hey, whatever, just here, fill out this form. I had to fill out a federal form of complaint. Of course, I never heard anything from that.
Of course not.
Yeah, I learned then government bureaucracies, especially I learned it in the Navy in general. Government bureaucracies are not to be toyed with. You just can't. As an individual, there's not much you can do.
No, not at all. I do remember when they tried to price control and it failed miserably.
Yeah, I don't even know how they can mandate that kind of stuff and control K4PEW. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm trying to think of some other thing. Oh, like they did, when they tried to do the Affordable Care Act. They said, oh, we're going to get everybody insured, and forgetting the politics of the event. Let's say that's a nice thing to think about. Everybody's insured. I don't think it is, but that's beside the point. And they said, oh, yeah, everybody's going to be insured. It's going to be affordable. It's going to be cheap. Well, forget the affordable. Forget the cheap. There's still 15 to 20 million people not insured. And you say, well, how did that happen if everybody was going to get insured?
I don't believe it was ever intended to insure everybody. K4TYJ. I believe it was designed to try and take control of 1/6 of the American economy.
I guess that's right. I mean, I don't know. I just say I don't know. I've come to, as I get, the older I get, the less I understand or like anything about federal bureaucracies. The less, the better. I mean, if I could live out in the woods and not pay taxes and not worry about the government, the better I'd be.
That'd be nice.
Well, I mean, as it is, it's not like I have a lot of interaction with the federal government. I mean, it's not like I'm not on any federal. Well, I am on a federal program. I go to the VA, so yeah, I'm involved with that. But even that is, I'll just say it's awkward sometimes dealing with them. Although they're pretty good. I don't really have any real bad complaints with them. I do have good. I think I told you that the typical complaint about the veterans is that there's just issues, bureaucratic issues, and they canceled an eye appointment I had the eye appointment was in June, and they contacted me in May and said, hey, we had to cancel that because of some conflicts with the doctor's schedule or something. Okay, great. What's the reschedule? And they go, January. I said, it's 7 months away. Yeah, that's right. I said, wait a minute. There's got to be I said, you're serious, January. That's it. What are they doing in between that time exactly? So well, again, that's the first opening that's on the schedule. I said, okay, great. I said, now, there's got to be an alternative. What is it? They said, no. We'll just refer to you to this other program. I forget what it's called. And I got an appointment with a regular physician who was an eye doctor outside of the VA, and they paid for it.
Oh, wow, good deal. Yeah, sometimes, they reschedule and the next available 7 months away.
It's hard to imagine 7 months.
I don't get it.
Well, the reason I don't get it, now the eye clinic, the only time I was at the eye clinic a couple of years ago, it was very busy. I don't know the reason it was that busy. I don't know if they don't have enough physicians or just way too many people who can't see for crap. I don't know. But it was very busy. Now, there's other parts of the VA hospital over there in Nashville that, it's just average busy. There's nothing. It's not like there's a lot of, hundreds of people sitting around waiting to be served in the labs or the different clinics. It's just average. It's no worse than a regular doctor's office. So I don't know what the deal, why somebody would have to wait 7 months. And it must be a shortage. It has to be a shortage of physicians. It has to be.
You're supposed to be trying to fix that, but it's another government bureaucracy, and you know how well they work.
Yeah, and they, again, I don't want to be too critical, but because I do like what the VA's done for me, so I'm happy. Good point. But I was going to tell you, I met the doctor I had in Tampa. Now, this is now 9 years ago. He might even told me this 10 years ago. He said he had some friends, and he was a very well-established physician in Tampa, and he was associated with a hospital that had, relationships with the VA in Tampa, which is an extraordinarily busy facility. In fact, they tell me it's the busiest VA hospital in the country because of the number of retirees there. And he said that he had some friends that said, "Hey, dump your private practice, man." He says, "Get into the VA. You don't have to worry about paperwork. You don't have to worry about, anything related to, hiring staff, firing staff, managing your nothing. You just get a salary and everything's good. And in the final few years of your life, you can have a normal job." He told me then, he says it pays, I think he said it paid $110,000 or $115,000 a year, which for a doctor is low dollars. That's like a minimum wage doctor. And I thought, I can see why people take it though. I mean, I really can.
Well, if we remove all the things that you don't, that doesn't pertain to actually treating patients, and make it more convenient for you to be a doctor, you don't have to worry about payroll, you don't have to worry about, staffing, et cetera, and the paperwork. Yeah, I can see the appeal to that.
But I mean, there are lots of physicians who are in private practice who make double or triple that amount.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it depends, it depends on the doctors and what they're made of. They're people too. Yeah, go-getters and not so go-getters.
Well, yeah, no, I understand. And I just can't imagine though. Of course, I'm not knocking the VA or, my time in the military taught me that I really didn't want to stay in the military just due to that. Not because it was terrible, it's just that bureaucracy would drive you nuts. And I didn't really want to have that. It wasn't just that for me though. When I got out, it was because I didn't want to do any more sea duty. And I knew that if I reenlisted, I'd probably get about 4 years of sea duty on top of the 4 I already had. It didn't seem like a good idea to me.
Well, you had enough, so, go on.
Well, yeah, and in my case, I met dozens and dozens of people who were in the Navy, and tell you how many I met, just lots. Aside from the ones I served with, and a lot of them didn't get the sea time that I did in 4 years. I just was fortunate or unfortunate enough to get on a ship and spend a lot of time at sea. Had enough of that.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. I know it's. I've had my share on there, probably not as much as you, Cole, but yeah, definitely had my share floating around the ocean blue.
Oh yeah, I know you did. It's an experience you don't soon forget. You never forget it actually. But what I try to explain to people is because it's people if they've never been on an ocean-going vessel, and even if they have, they've usually been on a cruise ship, or they've been on a lake, in a river or a pond, or large like the Great Lakes, and they're not familiar with how rough it can get and how nasty the ocean can get. And I try to explain to them. I said, "Look, I slept up not all the way to the bow, but up in the bow, forward of the superstructure." And I said, "Well, you figure the ship would rise up on a swell. It might go up, let's see, just to be nice, it would go up 20 feet up. And then after on the other side, it might go down that 20 and then down another 10 or 15, maybe another 20. So you're getting a ground motion altogether of 40 feet from the top to the bottom." And I said, and when you're trying to do stuff, when you're trying to eat or sleep or do anything, play cards, you're holding on for dear life sometimes.
Oh yeah, and don't forget you got to mix in the listing port and starboard too. And people say how dark it is out in some places. Go out in the ocean. There is nothing out there. It is dark, dark, dark.
Yeah, that's what they call 0 dark 30, man.
You see the glow-in-the-dark plankton stirred up, by the props.
Oh yeah, exactly. In fact, you could also see it in up on the, as the bow went through the water, it would also cause that glowing effect up there.
Yeah, which I was always intrigued by. I liked it.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah, when it's not rough out, I like it. And when it's rough out, you can't see it anyway. I was going to tell you something else about that. Oh yeah, I was going to tell you where it got the most confusing thing I think I've ever done in terms of spatial references, like an up and down motion. But we were when I worked in the forward gun mount, below it in what's called the merry-go-round. I don't know if you're familiar with that kind of a thing on the ship. You saw those on the ship you were on?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. The mount, of course, sits on top of the deck, and it goes, it operates about 300 degrees or so, from all the way from full port, not full, but over to the port, and then all the way over to starboard to about 300 degrees. And underneath that, though, is built into the mount is an elevator that has, and it's freestanding. It's hung from the bottom of the mount. It's mounted to the bottom of the mount, and it hangs down into a room called the merry-go-round. It's a round room, round space that has that thing hanging down there, and it's on one side of this thing. The elevator is a hoist for the projectiles, and the other side, the mirror side of that is where the powder kegs go up, and there's two people down there, and they're filling those hoists as not hoist is one at a time. So if they're doing rapid fire, you're rapidly putting these projectiles, and the projectile you have to put it in a certain way because it's also in that device is the fuse setter. It sets the fuse and the projectile. Anyway, it goes up to the mount, and they hand load it into the gun. Well, in that room, the mount is moving. So you can imagine, here's the mount. It moves at 300 degrees following a target. And so in turn, so does that elevator. So you're having to watch that elevator where it is, because you can grab a projectile and the elevator's gone over 15 degrees. So you just be slamming your hands into something that's not there. So what made it harder was around the edge of the room, all the way around was I think it was 3 levels high of a cage. It was like a library rack where all these projectiles were mounted, and powder kegs as well. Half was powder kegs, half was projectiles. And so you could move that. One of the guys would move as the ship moved, and as the mount moved, you'd move the rack so that it would be in close proximity to in other words, the projectiles would be on the projectile side of the elevator and vice versa. Well, all that being said, you would be in one position where it would be following a target, and then the gun would have to swing all the way around to the other side to see the target, and the ship would be moving at the same time. It's up, down, it would be bouncing around and in all the ways that it can, and it's moving in direction, and the mount is moving, and the room, that elevator, not the elevator, but the merry-go-round portion on a motorized rack would move around too. You'd finish your job when they'd stop shooting. It's okay, cease fire, and you look around. You don't even know. You honestly didn't know which way was up. You couldn't even tell. I don't know where the door is, the hatch. I don't know where the front, the back, down, up. You felt like you'd just gotten off of the worst carnival ride you'd ever been on.
Oh, I can imagine. Everything seems like everything's got its own mind and its own different path of tilting, and you're trying to keep up with it.
Oh, and then to make matters worse, of course, the mount is directly above you. So the projectiles being thrown out of the barrel were very loud. They were, loud. I don't know how to express loud. It was almost like being inside a metal dumpster and having somebody ram it with a car every time the mount, it was just that loud. It was a very loud, you had to get used to that loudness because if you hadn't heard it before, it'd be frightening.
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly. They're loud.
Had a breaker in there?
Yeah, 4 mobile.
Yeah, you trying to check into the net that ain't no more?
Pretty much, but I'm up in Lafayette between Red Bull and Springs and Lafayette on Highway 52 headed west.
Oh, you're doing awesome. You're on the mobile, are you?
Yes, sir.
Well, you're doing great. Lafayette. So how far are you away? I'd have to look.
Well, I'm about halfway between the two, I think. I'm in Macon County, but between Red Bull and Springs and Lafayette.
Wow. Well, you're doing great up there, Richard. I'll check in. It was a little low tonight, but I don't know what low is. You make numbers 14.
Well, we need to do better than that. I'm stopped on
miles of road to make this check in, and I could hear you talking, but it was clipping out real bad, so I went ahead and stopped. I won't get anything. Hey, you better.
Well, you just dropped out, Richard. K4PEW. James, were you able to copy Richard up there near Lafayette and Red Boiling Springs?
No, I didn't have no idea where he was at, so I didn't even point up that way because I had no idea.
No, I didn't imagine you did, but I mean, he's a good stretch from me. He was not good, not a very good signal. I could hear him okay, kind of, but he was breaking up pretty good.
There's a small motorcycle museum up there in Red Boiling Springs.
Oh, really? Hey, by the way, did you see that? I'm sure you've seen them before, but those two videos I sent you about the Isle of Man motorcycle racing, they crack me up every time I watch them. I'm like mesmerized by those guys.
Oh, they're something else. Um, they're awesome, and try and watch it whenever I can. I'm a big fan of MotoGP too. I watch that every week, and I got my DVR recording it so I don't miss it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, what amazes me is, I guess on the straightaways they do hit close to 200 miles per hour.
Yes, sir, they do.
You know, I know you know, but it's hard to imagine going that fast under those conditions.
Yeah, they know the Isle of Man like the back of their hand. Probably better, you know. And it's not for the faint of heart or people with lacking the skills.
Well, all I can imagine when I'm watching that is, some retarded sheep running out on the road.
Yeah, I know. They try to do everything they can to make sure the animals don't, cross inadvertently or whatever. People have died, people have gone off the road, and there's been many wrecks. And that one section where, it's I guess it's a right-hand sweeper, that they do probably 150, 160 mile an hour around it. And I watched the guy wreck and go off the edge there. It's he survived, but that's a long way down. That's a long tumbling fall.
There's that one, you probably saw it, it's that right curve. It's a curve to the right where he goes over and you see him flying through the air with the greatest of ease, and his bike is doing as well independently. And that, you go, man, I wonder if he survived.
Yeah, he survived. Yeah, that was the right-hand sweeper I was talking about.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure if that was the one, but that's a hell of an accident to have. I don't think the motorcycle survived though.
Nah, I've seen where they hit the walls in town too, and scatter parts and people everywhere.
Yeah, in that one video that I sent you, obviously he was one of the more. Well, they're all pretty prominent drivers. But they had the one guy, and as he was taking off from the start line, he almost ran into the wall on the start. He was trying to go so fast from the get go.
Yeah, they're how you say it, their fear level for that is different than most everybody else.
Well, it's like a lot of things that those guys are. I would, again, never having had done that, but they're so proficient at it that the bike becomes part of them. Really, I mean, they know every feel, because there's no way you can't know it when you're doing what they do.
Yes, sir, you're correct.
Because I've done it with other things, not motorcycles, but you know what I'm saying is, once you understand the intricacies of something, those things to them become natural. They're just natural things because I see those guys even on a gear shift, going down the straightaway, and the front wheel comes off the ground, and it's not that it's not intentional. It's just what happens, and it doesn't even phase them one whit. Or they're coming over just a slow rise. It's not even a big. And you see the whole motor. You see all the motorcycles coming off of the ground just due to the high speed. And you got to know exactly every move.
Oh yeah, exactly. I wish I had a quarter of their talent. They're amazing.
Still freaks me out though. It's almost almost anxiety creating to watch a video like that because you know anybody's going to be brainless if you didn't see the risk involved of somebody flying by you at 185 miles an hour.
Oh, the risk is huge, and they understand it and they accept it. And that's if they didn't, then what makes the Isle of Man is that it's on public roads, through the Isle of Man, and that there's all kinds of other racing on closed circuit road courses, which it still doesn't have the appeal and obviously the amount of danger as the Isle of Man, because they're on public streets with real cement walls, real trees, real cliffs to go over, you name it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. If you hadn't said it, it's a nice course if you don't mind stone walls along some of the sides and buildings in the way.
Not a lot of room for error. No margin.
I don't think he's on the radio.
What you need?
He's on the radio.
What do you need?
I thought you wanted to watch Gracie Allen.
You were broadcasting live on YouTube again tonight?
Yeah, I'm still on there. I'm going to have to edit it.
We don't need a half-hour conversation of me and you.
No, I can edit it. You can, as soon as you're finished, I'll do that now. Hang on. K4PEW.
All right, K4TYJ.
On the radio now?
I'm on the radio, but